initiate with that Vault Breaker into Assault and Battery. You can engage from a long range and from out of vision too. I mean, we've seen Malphite Unstoppable Force from over walls, in the cliffs, out of bushes. Vi can do a very similar thing. So you got to be on your toes whenever she's about. And she's pretty good 1v1ing enemy junglers too. So she can counter jungle quite well. She's a very well-rounded, powerful champion that we've seen a lot of in Europe.
Misfortune ban. I don't see that one too often. Are they that afraid of the ult?
Yeah, it's pretty much, that's a targeted ban for Yellow Star, and it's a comfort ban. Leona is what Enraged is most well known for at the moment. Oh, take a look at this first pick Thresh, insta-lock as well. I just want to quickly, touch on the bans very, very quickly. Leona Misfortune, it is targeted at Yellow Star and Enraged. It's been their sort of go-to champions in the LCS so far, and Yellow Star has had some just mind-blowing performances. It has been linked with the rest of his team as well. When they played against Evil Geniuses, I think it was, the reason he survived so many times is because of the interventions from Cyanide's Kayle. So there was a number of factors involved, but Yellow Star's been playing MF a lot. The other side, the Respect ban, Fizz taking out the pool. Xin Zhao just so powerful and strong right now, and Kayle, of course, to round it out. We touched on Thresh. We're most likely going to see that being played by Fat Mummy in the support role. But there's a couple of people who are playing him as an AD carry, or even Soaz was playing him top lane as an on-hit scary Thresh.
It's certainly a thought, and of course every time he kills a creep he's going to get sold, he's going to get stronger, he's going to get more armor, so in the top lane against armor champs it's going to be there, but yet to see it properly refined and worked out. So I mean, it could
we haven't seen it, we just want to mention it in case it happens.
Exactly, it's there, but immediately we saw Cyanide's there, pick his volley bear and go teleport. Done. Teleport's fine, no surprises, what we expected. Cyanide's straight in with that. Soaz himself is sitting on teleport, that can still change. He obviously isn't going to play Caitlyn in the top lane, but we have seen from Fnatic Caitlyn in the mid lane. It is something we've seen out of Peke, so I don't want to rule her down to an AD carry role just yet.
The reason that Caitlyn was playing the mid lane that particular time, it was to counter Anivia. Ocelot logged in Anivia playing for SK, and it was just a counter. And there was a very funny joke that happened after that event where Ocelot said to Froggen, what would you do? And Froggen said, I would probably suicide. It's just everything about Caitlyn, it just counters Anivia in the lane and phase so difficult. So then we do see Rumble, and Varus has been locked in. So Rumble so far 2 for 2 in terms of stream 1 here. A little bit surprising, I think, for all of us. We weren't really seeing that as a first pick type of champion.
Yeah, the ban really surprised me. The pick not quite as surprising. Still thinking about Caitlyn's 650 range. That's where my brain's at. Level 1 650 range. Oh, leaning against her is brutal.
It is. There's a Sona against it. It's the same lane we saw last game from Blades. Sona Caitlyn. We saw a lot of poke coming out of that. They took that bottom tower very, very early on. I'm going to go on a limb and say is a Soaz top lane.
Yes, now Lee Sin is an interesting lock in here as well, because we've seen Soaz running it on the weekend, actually, over Super Weekend, and he was the first. Well. Yeah.
Soaz was the first to put Lee Sin in the top lane and show everyone quite how powerful he was, and that's something that Soaz loves to do. We saw it at Blitzcrank, we saw it, he did the Kha'Zix first, he did the Lee Sin first.
Speaking from experience as well, Lee Sin versus Rumble can definitely go in Lee Sin's favor so well, although with the Nunu Cog, Nunu jungle, Cog more Thresh bottom, like Cog, maybe AP Cog. It could be AP Cog.
Could be AP Cog, could be AP Varus, to be honest, too. He has got some AP ratios, he's got a very strong AP ratio on his W ability, actually. Every auto attack doing some magic damage, then proccing that extra damage with his E or with his Q, whichever he wishes. But I would be more leaning towards Cogmore AP.
It is interesting. What Millennium have done right now is they picked a bunch of champions that could have the ability to go sort of anywhere at the moment. Nunu, if he is going to be going into the jungle, is a little bit different because it is 2.02, so he's not quite as powerful as he was a couple of weeks back, but still very, very difficult to get away from in ganks. And you can see with 40 seconds on the clock for the last pick, Fnatic are going, whoa, what do we do now?
And there is a lot of zone control in that Millennium team. You got to look at Rumble Ultimate, straight down, big, long, slowing field that does AoE damage. Kraton, well, not Kraton at the moment, but it would probably be Fat Mama, I suspect, on that support. Nunu running with his AoE ultimate on Nunu, big AoE slow plus damage. Thresh with that box, massive slow in that AoE as well. So if you fight in a jungle, if you are in those tight spaces, it's going to be very hard to get away from this Millennium team. But Peke going to go and blink all over the place instead of just run, which will counter all those slows.
Cogmore's not going to be able to kill Peke. It's that simple. He's going to have Rift Walk up. The cooldown is a little bit higher, of course, than the Living Artillery, so, Cog will be able to spam it. But all Peke is going to do is silence him, prevent him shooting out any more ultimates, and then just Rift Walk away to safety. The thing that I'm very impressed by, or surprised by right now, is Enrated is still currently sitting on teleport as we near the last few seconds of the picks and bans.
I'm leaning to believe it. Now, Millennium can't see the summon spell yet, neither can Fnatic. They cannot see their opponent's summon spell until they get into the load screen. So there's no reason to wait on those incorrectly until the last second, unless it's literally what you want to go for. I mean, we have seen a couple of spectate bugs where it will not change till the last second, but we're about to find out. If he does use it, teleport ganks from Sona once she's 6 can be very powerful.
Very. All right, well, the players in the game is started. 3, 2, 1. We are ready, throwing it over to the casters. This time we have Joe Miller again, and he's joined by Jason Kaplan. Good luck, have fun.
So here we go then, Fnatic versus Millennium. Jason, we've got the picks in. Who's your strongest? Who's your favorite in this one?
I'm going to have to say it's pretty one-sided here. Just having that mid lane, Kassadin, Xpeke playing him versus the Kog'Maw. What can Kog really do at level 6? Not too much. And not to mention, we were talking about Nunu. He was nerfed recently. Well, not recently. I think it was 3.0.1. And he's just slow in the jungle. His attack speed buff is going to be kind of nice. But in the end, he's not the same champion he used to be.
Far from it, I think we can say there. So we are going to dive into game then. Really interested to see how this one's going to go down. Of course, Fnatic right now doing very, very well in the European LCS. Millennium, well, they're not even in the European LCS. They obviously didn't make it through the qualifiers in Warsaw. So this is a real chance for them to show what they're made of.
Yeah, I mean, we have Fnatic 8-3 right now, second place overall in Europe. That's with teams like Evil Geniuses, with Gambit, who are all here today, and not to mention SK. They have the name made for them. They've been playing extremely well these past couple of weeks. They had a real iffy week, I'd say, this last one over in the Super Week. But, Millennium, they have something to prove here. They didn't get into LCS. They played against Fnatic before at Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. It was obviously with a different support that time. But, they want to get their revenge. This is a big game for them.
Yep, and apparently a couple of problems with the HUD there, which you would expect they'd do before the game starts, but who am I to say that? We've got the admin there behind them, and obviously their super manager, The Flight. Yeah, get that one out there. We talk about how managers are important all the time. Well, Jason, how important is it in this case?
Well, I guess it all just depends on how good they prepared for it. I mean, the manager, he has to be in there helping his team, look at the replays of the other teams, make sure to kind of figure out their strats, figure out their level 1 wards. We've had N-rated, we've had Crepo on the analysis desk talking before about how important level 1 really is and how teams fall into a kind of repetitive motion where they put wards down, and you can really counter that.
Well, we are into game then, so let's jump in. Millennium, of course, on the blue side here with Rumble, Nunu, Kog'Maw, Varus, and Thresh. Fnatic on the red side with Lee Sin, Volibear, Kassadin, Caitlyn, Sona. Level 1, Jason, we talked a little bit about it. Are we going to see anything this time around?
I'm going to have to say, yeah. I mean, Fnatic, why not? It's a group stage at this point. They're just so solid from all the practice they've had these past couple of weeks, and they have a decent team behind that. At least they have the Silence and the Flip, but they are actually being very aggressive on this red side, so they want to take that away, and I'm curious to see if they're going to commit to it or maybe just back out, as Millennium was heading towards the red side of Fnatic. So we see pretty much simultaneous or similar wards from each teams here so far.
Yep, right now both Kassadin and Volibear are going to go over a ward tabs. Coming down here, they've seen Fnatic going into the jungle. There was a ward in the bottom side of the river, so they know that Fnatic are actually in there. The question is, are they going to do something stupid like face checking? You definitely wouldn't expect it at this point of the game, but we've seen crazier things happen. As Fnatic sat with 4 men here, ready and waiting. Kassadin just behind them in that river side. So, I mean, Millennium, their safest thing to do here would be to completely back away. I mean, they're going for golems, which I think even that is a big, big risk for them. So we are going to see them take the small. Fnatic coming around. Fatmama going to get hit by the Q of Lee Sin, is forced to flash away, and that's an instant winner as Soaz is going to get pulled there. A little bit of damage, but of course not too much able to come out from that one. And that was, for me, as I said, a risky play. But at this point, Millennium saying, well, you know what? We're going to go straight around. We're going to take your red.
Yeah, it was very risky, but if it pulled off correctly, it really would have worked. The silence from Xpeke came in at the perfect time, but Cyanide just wasn't in position to get that flip, and now because he was forced to take that, he's going to be really slow on this blue, so N-Ray is going to have to help him out quite a bit. And with that red being gone now, right now, Joe, that's a big loss for them, like you were just saying.
And he needs to cross over here straight away and go for that red buff. I mean, I'm So Fresh has already taken his. He's gone back, picked up his blue, And they're surely going to know that red buff's gone after that one. I mean, we are seeing pings going down on towards that ping ward, but Cyanide is actually heading up towards his wolf. So not sure if he will end up doing that, and that's going to be a win for Millennium.
Yeah, the thing is, they won't actually know where I'm So Fresh went exactly until he crosses into his own red jungle, but they don't have a ward to spot that, so they won't have that vision, they won't have that ability to kind of make a play. We do see a pull actually lay on end right down the bot lane.
Yeah, very nice pull there. We've already seen one coming out of Fat Mama. Both AD carries are already up to level 2, as we see Fat Mama just picking up all the souls.
That's what you do as Thresh.
That's what you got to do. As we've seen from in European LCS quite a lot. And Cyanide now going to go to his red buff and realize that there's not really much there ready for the taking. His IEM So Fresh actually will start to work his way back into that jungle. It looks like he wants to try for an invade from the Tribush side, which actually is warded at this point.
Yeah, or maybe even a counter invade here. And Joe, we never really touched on, we do see Yester actually getting caught, but shouldn't really be taking too much damage. We haven't touched on the teleport. Actually, do we see it coming in anyways?
Yeah, teleport coming down here from Cyanide. The bear rushing down, but Millennium already underneath that turret. They'll be safe for this one. So, you know, we're only 3.5 minutes in. Already seen a bit of action as N-Rated going a little bit too far forward here. It's going to get pulled back. Can they finish it off here? This could well be first blood. He comes down. Thresh going to pick that one up as Yellow Star gets exhausted. They see Volibear coming back in. But that was strange move from N-Rated to go so aggressive there.
Yeah, it's a Sona. You can't afford to do that, especially when you don't have a barrier or any kind of real escape besides that flash. But in the meantime, Millennium, they're making a big play on that mid lane, knowing that teleport was down, knowing that they got that first blood, and get another pull. Fat Mom has obviously been practicing that Thresh quite a bit.
Yeah, you can definitely see that one, not missing any of these pulls up until now, and instrumental in picking up that first kill. I'm just not sure why N-Rated risked that, to be honest, and risked that poke going out when you know that Thresh can pull you straight in. Meanwhile, in this middle lane, because he's pecking in tabs, both at level 4, both definitely not what you'd call healthy at this point, as Cyanide gonna come running in from the side. Expecting not really getting involved. Now Nunu coming in from that side, as we are going to see the flash in. Tabs is going to go for this one. Can they finish off Cyanide? One more hit, and So Fresh gets the kill.
And Millennium coming out so strong. That was well played overall. I mean, we saw Tabs actually flash in for that, knowing that Cyanide had no escape. They're going to get this turret off of that as well. They have a nice little bit of a gold lead going on from here, but the real question is right now, can they take this advantage and use it as the game progresses? We've seen teams do this before, where they get the first turret, get first blood, maybe even get 2 kills, but they don't get that transition down properly, and we'll see if Millennium's been practicing that.
Talk to us a little bit about AP Kog'Maw, because we know as an AD, Kog'Maw starts off weak but gets ridiculously strong as the game goes on. By the end game, he's a beast. How's that going to be this time around, obviously, with it being an AP Kog'Maw? I say that. He's gone for Vampset to start the lane.
Actually, yeah, he is going AD Kog'Maw. Yeah. I think all of us thought he was going AP, but still, it really caught me off guard as well. I didn't even notice that while looking at his runes of masteries. But, AP Kog'Maw isn't terrible, but I don't really go into it too much since we are dealing with an AD. But having that Nunu in the jungle, we were talking about it, he's not support, he's in the jungle, he's a little bit slow. It's going to make him go insane in these fights. They have a really strong AD team. It's up to English to build their real heavy AP, and hopefully I'm So Fresh is going to build up that tankiness that they're going to need in this fight, because if you look over Fnatic's side, they have a really strong front line with that Volibear, with that Lee Sin.
Yeah, and you can see that Kog'Maw already got a lead on Cassidy in terms of the CS. Okay, did go back in that last one, as Anguish here may find himself in a little bit of trouble shortly. He's keeping a decent distance, doesn't know, as far as I can tell, that Cyanide is actually in that top bush. But Cyanide, in the end, is going to start to work his way back. Anguish obviously does have Flash available, uses Ignite early on, but Cyanide has left anyway, and that is Anguish pushing the towers through. He's got a 10 CS lead, so as should be able to bring that back here underneath his own turret, though.
And Joe, I remember casting a Millennium at the European qualifiers for LCS, and Anguish, he just didn't seem to impress us. He was forced into his Jack Stroll a couple times when he necessarily didn't want to, but we're used to him being a dominant force in that top lane. And right now, I mean, he's winning CS, which you should be able to do as Rumble against a Lee Sin, but he's not looking too bad. Looking like Millennium, like that time off they've been taking seriously. They didn't really let it get to him not qualifying, and they really want to win the World Championship. Why not?
And we asked RNA about that whole scenario back at LCS, and he said, yeah, we didn't qualify, but we still have a chance at the mid-season. So these teams that aren't in LCS, yes, they don't have that regimented Saturday, Sunday, or Friday in the case of Super Week. They don't have those games, but that doesn't mean that they're not practicing. And as RNA said, the teams that aren't in LCS are actually in they're really in demand right now because these LCS teams want to practice with teams that aren't going to be able to see their strategies and make it count later.
And considering you're at the World Championships of the Intel Extreme Masters, actually we'll have to hold on a second. As you do see, Fresh might get caught here. Actually might go down and lose some buffs.
Well, we'll have to see. He's double buffed up right now, and that's what Fnatic were really aware of, as we are going to see Cyanide pressure. Then Rayton comes in around the side. He's forced to flash the Threshold miss. Well, I'm so fresh going to pick up the kill, and again, I'd have to question the positioning coming out of Enrated into that one. Not sure it was really needed.
Well, we really have to get credit to Millennium here, though. They know the threat. They know Xpec is cast in, so what they're doing is denying that blue buff, denying him that snowball effect that he can really have in a game. And this is exactly what you have to do against a Cassidy, an AP Nidalee, an Anivia. As long as you take those blue buffs away over and over and over again, that AP mid's not going to be strong.
And that's one of the other advantages that Millennium and some of the other teams have to come in here against the LTS teams, that they've had the ability to watch them over and over and over again. We're only 4 weeks into that European LCS, but they've already played 10 games or 9 games, I think, Fnatic up until now. So they've already played a lot at this point. That's a lot to watch. 11 games. See, that was even less.
I mean, we've seen just because they've not been holding back. Fnatic, I mean, every team in LCS has been trying as hard as possible, taking every new strategy they can, and that gives Millennium a huge advantage looking into this. As you saw, they put an 80 Kog'Maw middle. They took away that blue buff. They knew exactly what Fnatic was trying to do, and they're outplaying them in every way possible at this point.
Well, Angosh again pushing a wave into Soaz's turret. He went back and he's going to lose a good 5-6 creeps from that wave as well. Nunu going for Spirit Stone plus the boost of mobility up till now. Ruby Crystal we see in the top lane there. Rumble just picking up that Seeker's arm guard. Obviously the newest item into the game. Brutalizer coming out of Soaz. So now that early mid game, I guess we can call it, is where Soaz can really shine with that Lee Sin, and that's what he needs to do at this point for Fnatic.
That's what we've seen him do before on Lee Sin. He'd be really aggressive, really deny a lot of CS, but it seems like Anguish has kind of been well, actually, we haven't even seen I'm so fresh visit the top lane yet, so he's just been outplayed on one-on-one and even, partly one-on-two where we saw Sana come into the top lane. I mean, obviously, Lee has a hard time against Rumble, but Anguish with the Seeker's arm guards, he's just tanky enough at this point to deal with any damage that Soaz has, and if Soaz can't start snowballing really quickly, he won't have that damage late game. He'll have that utility from the ultimate, which is kind of what they're counting on if they land that flip, but the damage is going to be a major problem.
So here we go. They've spotted Cyanide's position. Answer Fresh position at the bottom. Tabs is going to get kicked out there. Actually will flash away as the teleport comes down for Peke. And I tell you what, they're going to dive in onto this one. Barrier use. Tabs here actually sticking to the back as the equalizer comes down as well. Soaz going very low. He's forced to flash away. Maybe Angosh will get caught out now as the damage comes in. There's the Nunu ultimate. It's going to be enough to secure them the kill onto Cyanide.
And that was 2v4 for the longest time right there. Actually, Thresh coming in Fat Mama does catch Unrated.
Rated in trouble, the box is down, and there is the finisher. Yellow Star did manage to take off Angosh, but they may have even more. There's a flash, the snowball coming out. Varus gonna flash in, barrier used by Yellow Star. Where's the E out of Creaton? That's all he needs to finish off. He actually came after he'd secured the kill. What a fight for Millennium.
And holy crap, Xpec actually waited in that mid bush trying to go for Tabs in the back because he saw him pushing up, but what happened was Tabs actually landed on the lantern, got pulled away as Xpec flashed in and Riftwalk after him. What a great play. I mean, it was probably not on purpose, but still worked out for them in the end. And Millennium up 6-1 right now, Joe. I mean, going into this game, I didn't really expect it to be like this. I really expected Millennium to have a tough time, but they're showing Fnatic up, and that's no easy feat.
That is definitely no easy feat. As we are seeing Bilgewater Cutlass coming out of both Varus and Kog'Maw at the start. It's pretty much identical builds.
I wonder what we're going to see.
They've gone down the line.
Probably the Blade of the Rune King, which seems to be the flavor of the month since... Well, the thing is, it's not the perfect item to go for yet. They need to have at least like 1,500 health or more to make it really worthwhile. Obviously, as the game does progress on, it will benefit you, but at this point, not really the ideal item. And Fnatic popping down that ward, going in for that teleport. We didn't even mention that Fnatic's running 2 teleports at this point, but they should be able to get this dragon. Oh, but actually, Millennium might not even have him. Let them even have it.
Ward actually comes in, dragon out to half HP as Soaz going to get hooked back towards the wall, but Smite coming out of Cyanide will get that for them. It's actually a 3,200, 3,300 gold lead right now for Millennium. 6-1 in kills, 1-0 in turrets. They're doing a really solid job, but are they going to have that teamwork? It's something that Panky touched on earlier, that they're definitely 5 amazing individual players, but at LCS we saw the teamwork was lacking for them, and to beat a team like Fnatic, even when you get an early lead, you've got to have that team play in there.
Yeah, and we'll see just how good Millennium is, because if they can hold on to that lead and turn it into a victory, they'll have overcome the biggest problem that most new teams have. We do have a 4-man push on that bot side as English still on the top, trying to go for that turret, and this is applying a nice little bit of a split push pressure. That's so hard to say. In my head, it sounded a lot easier.
Well, they've got pressure. 4 men there, so they shouldn't really have too much of a problem as XPK is going to rip walk over the wall. Varasulti came in, he got hooked. There is the kill. Creator now on a killing spree at 3-0-1.
And that is what's so damn deadly about a Thresh. You land that Q onto them, they can't move, they cannot get away, and we've seen that happen with against EG. We're frogging on AP Nidalee, where you're so slippery. As long as you get hit with that, you can lock them down with the Varus ultimate behind it, and then not to mention the Blood Boil Kog'Maw. There's no escaping that. And Millennium now up 7-1. The goal lead is starting to lengthen even more, but still is able to push his top side. But to me, I mean, you do need to get these outer turrets for Fnatic. You need to get some sort of gold coming in, but you can't really afford to have these fights going on where it's 4-on-3, where you lose a turret and you lose, potentially 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, so I was actually going to take this top turret down to at least half HP as Anger's going to come around the side. That's going to force Soaz to back away. He's actually got the level on him there, and it's forced to use the kick to stay safe. So Soaz, we've seen him, he played this Lee Sin in the lane in LCS, was absolutely ridiculous with it as well. He's just not feeling comfortable against Angus.
Yeah, it was against a Shen that time too, which is not really easy to go up against. Obviously, you should be able to beat him, but with how far he out CS that Shen at that time was just insane. And Joe, I think the next action, we just saw Dragno down. I think it's going to come around that blue buff again. We talked about it before. If they can get XPK with that blue buff, or sorry, if they get denied from XPK, then you're going to pretty much keep him out of the game for quite a bit longer. He only has 75 CS, that 1 assist, and a Haunting Guys and a tier at this point. Not doing too much damage, but still, you're up against a squishy backline of Millennium. If he can get back, if he can get some sort of item, get in the back, he will be able to catch them and pick up some kills.
Wow, equalizer used there by Rumble. Did he just steal away the red buff with that as well?
Yes, he did.
He stole the red buff with that equalizer. Nicely done from Angush. I'm so impressed with Millennium. Honestly, I did not expect this coming into this one. Maybe that's just me being a little bit blind to things, but they're certainly looking on top of the game. As again, 3 men gather in the top lane. They've got minions coming through. Middle lane is actually being pushed back by Fnatic, but Millennium going to go straight in for this one. Blood Boil, of course, on Creatine. They're going to lose a middle outer turret for that one. Yeah, they may end up losing 2 from that one in the end. Fnatic looking like they will back away as Tabs comes around. Millennium still shoving up this top lane.
One thing we kind of forget about, Yellowstar actually in the mid lane does get caught by Thresh, but they don't commit onto it. One thing I was trying to say is that we kind of forget about the teams who didn't get into LCS. They're kind of like the prime teams to practice against when you are in the actual the league. So they get a lot of extra practicing against these teams. They see strategies that those teams won't necessarily release just yet. We do have a teleport coming in the top lane. Cretan might get caught here.
Yeah, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Actually, will throw the ultimate down onto Peke, but he'd already rip-walked. It only stopped him right in front of him, and that will be Peke shutting him down. He tried his best there, Cretan, but well, when he's hit the rift walk before the ulti actually lands and he's rooted right in front of you and he can still auto attack, well, it didn't really do much. I think he could have killed
him actually. He didn't use his Blade of the Rune King on that. A little bit surprised because that gives him extra health, does some extra damage right off the bat. I'm pretty sure he could have killed XPK if he did use that. A little bit unfortunate, but still, I mean, Millennium is trying to take advantage of this. They are pushing up. They're keeping a lot of wards in the jungle of Fnatic, and maybe N-rated. It's not exactly that 20-minute point, but without a GP10, I don't really think he can afford an Oracle at this point, because if you lose that, I mean, obviously it's only 5 minutes long, but if you lose it within the first couple of minutes, you just wasted 400 gold that you're not going to get back.
Yeah, certainly right with that one. Fnatic, as you said, just don't really have that gold to be spending right now. They're having to roam around the jungle as a pack because they know that the wards are down there, not wanting to get caught out. And they're having to really utilize these jungle creeps. There's the individual gold score. Let's have a look in the middle lane. 600 gold for the Kog'Maw over the Kassadin. 80 carries where the real difference is at, though. 1,500 gold difference between Varus and Caitlyn.
And not to mention, that's just a bunch of CS at this point. They were able to defend that turret, and that all stemmed from N-rated, unfortunately, getting caught at the bot lane, getting that first blood onto him. Once you start losing that lane like that, and you're against like very aggressive lane like they currently have, you can't really survive that damage. We don't see any sort of big health item on him. We don't see any Dorn Shield, which has kind of been the typical build, that Philo Stone into a Dorn Shield.
And one great thing is that this group, if Millennium can continue this, if they can actually win this game, it completely blows this whole group open, because honestly, I don't think a lot of people will look into Millennium to provide those big wins against the massive lineup of teams that we've got. But so far, showing some real promise in this one. They've got a 5k gold lead. They're going for this inner middle turret right now as Cassidy is going to get involved. Peke takes a lot of damage on the way through as the crescendo comes in, but Enrayton can't afford to stick around there. And in the end, Millennium just pulling him away, and they're going to concentrate on this tower. They're going to be tanking it up between them. The Cogmore ultimate coming out is going to secure them the turret.
But look what they did. I mean, they saw Soaz on the top lane, they saw Yellowstar at the bottom. Why not 5-med push to that mid lane? You blow a couple of ultimates, you get them to blow a couple of ultimates and summoners, and you get a free turret off it. Now they're just going to back away with that extra gold, the extra map control they get off of that, and buy up some new items. I wouldn't be surprised at this point to see Fat Mama actually pick up an Oracle. We're getting close to that 20-minute point, and with all those, we have two tier 2 turrets down in mid and bottom. You kind of really need to control the jungle at this point.
Yeah, and that could be the difference in this game if they can do something like that. As Pink Ward is put over by the Baron. We see that Fnatic headed down towards Dragon, which has been up for a little while now. Not sure if Millennium are going to be able to react to this one. They're too far away from it. It's going to go over. Picked up in the end by Soaz. So nice little pick up there from Fnatic. That's the kind of thing that they need to do when they're falling behind in other things with the turrets. Yeah, that's the only thing that's really keeping them in this game at this point. I mean, they're trying to see us as much as possible, but they're falling behind in every lane. I think Soaz is actually the only one to catch up in his own. And not to mention, you have 2 Blade of the Rune Kings already built over from Millennium. You have a Kog'Maw with a Nunu behind him. You have the Varus % max health damage. You do actually have Enrayton getting cut. We just flashed over that wall. Flashed again, and they're keeping that on cooldown permanently on him. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if this is all a tiredness thing right now. Cyanide going to get caught out by the Varus ultimate in the middle, gets a flip over, but it wasn't flipping enough.
And the only thing we should also touch on is getting Sona to blow that flash. That is really key, because we're always used to seeing Sona's flash crescendo you and catch your team off guard, but by denying that summoner spell, you pretty much eliminate any chance that Fnatic can be aggressive against you. Now they're pushing this inhibitor turret. Yeah, they are going in there. Fat Mama takes a lot of damage off to the side. It'd be a vital target, to be honest with you, to get that hook out of the game, as I'm So Fresh does lose a lot of health. Goes back into... I think he was trying to click the lantern.
Yeah. Pretty weird, that one. I think he actually did go back
for Cyanide into the mid lane. He's coming in.
Yeah, he's going to come in. There's the box, though. The 99% slow goes down onto everyone from Fnatic, but Peke going to dive in on towards Angus. Can they get the finisher here? It's so very close. The Lee Sin Q will land, and that is the kill. Nice turnaround from Fnatic.
Yeah, very nice turnaround, and all capitalizing on that one mistake out of I'm So Fresh. I'm not sure if he even used a lantern when you're silenced. Maybe that was actually the point, because he was silenced by Peke, but getting those 2 kills gives him a little bit of extra grip into this game. And Fnatic, we know a team like them, if they can get that sort of advantage back, or if they can start snowballing the game, they're going to take it from you. And Millennium, it's up to them to control this game and lock it down. They have 2 AD carries. I mean, Baron, if they wanted to go for it, would die instantaneously. Well, not that quick, but very quick, Joe.
Slightly instantly.
But they have such a good team for it. I mean, you have the Nunu Consume, you have the Blood Boil, you have the % health off Varus, you have the % health off Kog'Maw, and then you have a good defense with Rumble and with Thresh. It's very easy for them to take, and yet they just haven't, gotten the balls to do it yet.
Well, I'm sure they will do at some point. Problem is, are they going to be caught out another few times by Fnatic, who you can't give them any room to breathe in a game like this. Yes, you've got the advantage. It's a solid one as well for Millennium, but they take their foot off the pedal at any point in this game. A team like Fnatic will absolutely punish you for it.
And the thing is, that might have actually been shown at the Dragons. They've lost all 2 of them so far this game, giving them over to Fnatic. They had great control of the game entirely, but they let that go every single time. If they let a Baron go to Fnatic somehow, then it's pretty much them just losing the game themselves. They're going to have to look at that replay and just be like, oh man, we totally lost that game because we didn't do something as simple as taking Dragon when we were, near it.
Well, if anyone can steal Barons, then it's Cyanide, that's for sure. However, it doesn't quite have flash to get in here, or he'll just teleport in over the wall. No problem for that. Who needs a flash when you've got the teleport in there? But Millennium, as we said earlier, need to keep this warding up. They have got quite a few on this top side. You see Fat Mama here, just making sure that the vision is perfect for them. This red buff going to be stolen away, given over to Creaton, I can imagine. Yep, there is that. He's got a static shift now on top of the Blade of the Ruin King. On the other side, Caitlyn has gone Infinity Edge, along with those double Doran's blades. What else do we have? Cassadin. Bit of everything, really. Got the Tier in there, got the Catalyst in there, got the Haunting Guys. But once those, once he starts to finish off those items, then he's obviously going to become a lot more powerful. But right now he is behind in CS, obviously 2-1-2 in kills, and we know how strong of a Kassadin he is. They are going to all jump in there. The Crescendo only catching one of them, but that might just be enough. Cyanide and Raider taking a lot of damage. That's a full channel coming out of Nunu. Flashing front tads. They're going to take down Volibear as well. Can they get onto Xpeke? He goes low. He's forced to flash away. Gets shielded up by Lee Sin. But Millennium have not lost a man as they pull Yellow Star. AD carry gets destroyed. And Xpeke has to Wraith Walk again back towards base. He should heal before he even thinks about coming back. What another brilliant play out of Millennium.
Home guard of Kassadin coming in.
Yeah, but can he finish off a group like this? Let's have a look. Wow. Rift Walk comes down, but look at Tabs absolutely hammering away on him. Needs a shield again from Soaz. And he kind of focused on the rest of the team. I don't think he really realized that Tabs was still there hitting him.
He just did that much damage with only one major item completed. Doesn't have a zeal or anything like that. Wasn't critting, was just doing pure damage to Xpeke. And a great job by Millennium to just take advantage of a mistake. I mean, we saw, you mentioned during the team fight that Enraged unfortunately only hit Fat Mama. And you can't really afford to do that with the Crescendos when they're all grouped up. And even that was with Creedon actually getting caught by Soaz. It just didn't seem like Fnatic was able to collapse in on him in time.
Yeah, I mean, if you kind of compare the items right now, this pure AD beastiness that they have, I don't know, find another word to say it. I mean, double Blade of the Ruin King coming out there, so we do have a pause in game currently. I look like Tabs actually disconnected, so hopefully that a little bit gets sorted out here. But you can see there Fnatic on your screens. Cyanide not looking too comfortable with how things are going at this point. I mean, there's not a smile to be seen on the Fnatic faces, that's for sure.
And that's kind of weird because usually used to see Enrated always having a smile on his face. But I mean, they realize this game hasn't gone the way they thought. Millennium is much more of a challenge than they expected, and it's up to them to get back in the game. They have to take those advantages. They can't let those crescendos miss. They got to land those every time. They need to collapse together as a team. Not sure, why they're not playing exactly like we saw them, last week. It's a little bit odd, but you can't really take away the credit from Millennium. They've been playing a fantastic game.
Well, hopefully everyone's going to reconnect to the game there. You can see Mr. Abholzen from Riot Games actually stood behind the players on his radio, obviously trying to make sure that everything gets fixed from that side. But right now, just to break down the game and what we have at this point, 11-5 in kills to Millennium, 33.5 to 28.2 thousand gold to Millennium, 6-1 in turrets to Millennium. They've got a really, really strong footing in this game, but can they actually finish it?
Well, we'll find out if they can pick up that Baron. And Joe, it's kind of funny having only a 5,000 gold lead with this many kills and this many turrets over your enemy team. It's not necessarily a good sign. I mean, it's not a bad sign. You're ahead in every way.
Well, it's been countered a little bit by those two dragons that Fnatic have managed to pick up there. But yeah, a couple of dragons, that's all well and good, but they need more than that here, Fnatic.
Well, I mean, if any teams to do it, they definitely can. And taking a look at just, we should probably talk about the items just a little bit because Xpeke's been shut down. I mean, he's been shut down this entire game so far. He hasn't been able to accomplish anything, doesn't have any major items completed, was forced to go with the home guarded boots right off the bat just to protect his own base. We see Soaz wasn't able to really get anything going in his lane, but now sitting at 1-0-3, has a Hex Drinker built up, has a Brutalizer, even has a Giant Spell on top of that. So he's starting to finally get back in the game. And if he can keep catching... So what about
Hex Drinker against this very AD?
Well, Rumble does a lot of magic damage.
Well, yeah.
Varus off his W deals magic damage, so does Kog'Maw, so it helps out. I mean, it's a temporary item you can get. You stack that with the Runic Bulwark, and you don't need any more magic resist against a team like that. But, the Affinity's Edge on Yellow Star, he hasn't really been able to get the attack speed he needs to kind of keep up with the enemy team, because you have to look at it this way. If Fresh lands one snowball on him, his attack speed's gone. He's not going to be hitting you this entire fight.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It looks like we're almost ready to go right now. All the players have got themselves back into the game. And apparently the admin told them already to go from this one. So we are going to be getting back underway. The question that's going to be answered here in the next few moments is, can Millennium finish off this game against Fnatic? This would be an upset, without a question. I mean, this would be an upset.
And you have to point out that they actually lost to Gambit in the game before, so that's kind of a harsh thing to go into, to kind of refresh your mind and say, forget about that last game, we have to focus on this next one. And most teams who are very emotional really can't do that.
Yeah, that's always a difficult one. We are going to be seeing now Millennium grouping around that Baron. There is a pink ward down, so they know there's a ward in the back there. Expeke actually here in the bushes. See the amount of damage that comes down on towards Tabs, but crucially not getting the finish. It looks like Millennium are going to be looking for their third inner turret of this game, the last inner turret actually that's left standing on the top side. But look at Fnatic setting up a trap here inside of their own jungle, but will Millennium fall for it?
I think Fnatic's finally found the chink in Millennium's armor, because if they can get into that backline on the Tabs, you saw how much damage Expeke did with really no items completed. If you can take him out of the game, that's so much damage that Millennium loses out on, and then you only really have that Rumble and Varus to help you out. Obviously Thresh and Nuno won't do too much damage. And with that pink ward down, I mean, they're starting to try to go for Baron here, but the thing is, when you're in that pit, Kassadin has a free reign over you to hit you. I mean, he can get in easily from behind, get in from the front, and not to mention, we could see Cyanide teleport in and try to go for a steal, as you mentioned before. He's probably one of the hardest junglers to secure a Baron off of.
So, Expeke here having to defend that base, so there's only 4 men. He does have teleport, though, if he needs to be called in towards that fight. Millennium starting to push things down. That Cogmore ulti going to be good poke to the back. They pulled Soaz, not the target that they were looking for. Probably would have been different if that would have landed in on towards Yellowstar, but the turret already down to less than half HP. Tab's going to tank up 1 hit, but he's pretty much gone from this. The next wave of minions is coming in just from that backside, so they should be able to finish off now.
And with Expeke back in base, just defending with the home guarded boots, he has that teleport available, but there's only currently 1 ward actually up in the jungle of Fnatic to kind of stop this. But with that inhibitor being down, they are just going to give away that turret, and it's a lot more gold going over to Millennium. But Millennium doesn't have Baron at this point. They have to be very careful here, because they could potentially lose the game at this point if they do get aced. Oh, jeez, that was actually really close to Yellowstar, and if he gets caught, they're definitely not going to survive this fight.
Yeah, I'd imagine if they land that hook onto Yellowstar, they'll go straight in. They'll go all in to get those kills to start things off. You see Lee Sin and Caitlyn between them trying to force them back, but Millennium looking very determined at this stage to be taking that inhibitor turret. Ezekiel will land against Soaz again, will get pulled back, as we are actually going to see them go for it. There's a crescendo from Enrated. Big fight kicking off as Nuno going to get a good channel out. Actually picks up the kill on Cyanide. Soaz will go down as well. Yellowstar's on the top side. Where are they trying to chase into here? Creaton will land in, and now Expeke gets hooked in there. Actually, the Varus ultimate did land onto him as well. Can they finish off the kills? Creaton going very, very low. Peke getting healed up. There was the retreat from the Lantern. Now Angush being chased down. Peke coming in from the backside. They could kill Peke here. The Q from Varus just about dodged, but the minions do take him down.
What a crazy fight overall. Millennium with the focus firing down of everyone in Fnatic that came at them. But Expeke, a brilliant play by him overall in that game. He kept getting into the backside, kept forcing Tabs to stay away and forcing him to just be defensive when he needs to be attacking the enemy team. Fnatic, it's not a bad trade for them, to be honest. I believe it was a 3 for 3 or 3 for 2. 3 for 1. Maybe it's 3 for 1. Maybe it wasn't that good of a trade for Fnatic.
Let's just make the numbers up as we go along. It was a close one, let's call it that. So that still leaves us though with this 5,000 gold leave. The 5,000 that Fnatic have not been able to bring back still. Turret lead is massively in favour of Millennium, 7-1. I'm so fresh running here with that Blood Boil on, with the boots of mobility as well. He is very, very quick getting around this map. Red buff not going to be able to be challenged by Fnatic. This is going to be going over to one of those 2 ADs, into Tabs in the end. But what are they going to go for next? Expeke finally going to get a blue buff to work with.
The thing is, Millennium, they want to go for Baron. I mean, they have the ability to do it. With that middle inhibitor being down, Supermans are going to keep pushing up. But they didn't invest into Oracle to secure, just the jungle vision, because you could bait Fnatic in for a Baron and pick up a couple of kills and then take it then. But I'm not really too sure on what exactly Fat Mom is going for.
Expeke there, just having to rift walk away, almost getting caught out. Did get hit there with the snowball, but I'm so fresh is pretty tanky right now. Got the Legion, Agents of the Legion is there. We are going to see them getting the grab. Ulti comes out from Varus. Yellowstar going to go down. Tabs gets the kill there. Expeke in a lot of danger as well. Gets shielded up from Lee Sin right at the very last second. Lee Sin having to kick Nunu away from that, but that will already be a 1-0 here. The AD carry taken out of the game. Millennium, this is their time to shine as they get the grab on Peke again. Can they finish up this time around? Yes, they will. There is the crescendo coming out, but Cyanide gonna drop as well. And Rated should be an easy kill for Kog'Maw. They will go down to Kog'Maw, and that is 4 men down here by Fnatic. There are still 4 men left alive for Millennium. They've taken down that second inhibitor now, and they're gonna move in towards the Nexus turrets. Super Minions coming in as well. So as the only one to really defend this one out, but they've lost the first inhibitor turret as they turn around, focusing on Soaz. He's going to get back to the safety of Yellow Star, but the Nexus turrets are down. Can they finish off the game right here? Can they cause the first upset of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship? No, Creatine going very low. The Nexus is still being beat on, but they need to finish it off quickly here. And it finally, one more hit. Oh my God. One more hit. You've got to be kidding me.
Wow, I don't know what's going through Millennium's head right now, but that was really unfortunate for them. We even saw them flashing in to try to get into the backside of it to pick it up, but Fnatic, they could potentially rush Baron right now. I thought they were going to lose right there, Joe. I have no words for that. That was just, I have to say, a little bit of a mistake. It's just one more hit from any one of them would have finished off the game.
Absolutely incredible stuff. I can't believe that just happened to us, but look at the items again. Double Blade of the Ruin King, double Static Shiv. We've got that Infinity Edge now finished for Varus as well, but Fnatic are doing Baron. They've got the Baron down to almost half HP. Thresh is the only one in any kind of position to do anything, and they're not going to be able to stop this Baron being taken away. That is going to get finished off here by Fnatic, and that gives them a lifeline now. I mean, they've got no inhibitors. They've got no Nexus turrets left. They've got a Nexus which is probably still only on about half HP with its regen right now. In fact, it's not even at that at this point. So they've got to be real careful as Fat Mama and N-Rated going to have a slugging fest here as N-Rated using the flash wise enough. I mean, you don't want to lose that player with the Baron buff. He may end up getting caught out anyways. I'm So Fresh comes in, gets pulled back towards them. N-Rated going to walk straight in towards Kog'Maw. He'll take one for the team, but that leaves Millennium with a 5-on-4 advantage. Super Minions are coming in as well as Cyanide going to get focused down so very quickly there by Millennium. Only 3 men left to take out. Will they even bother? Ulti goes down from Varus onto Soaz. Creatine picks up that kill. Hit the damn Nexus. They need to finish the game off here, and they will do.